Hi guys, my name is Gavin, and today I'll just be showing you how to make a simple maze game where a player has to navigate a maze and reach an endpoint. And I will throw in a couple enemies in the game that'll track around walls and stuff, just to make the game a little harder. Alright, I'm just gonna get started. To start off, let's right click on this cube, or this camera, sorry, and hit X delete, and then right click on this light and hit X delete. And then I'm gonna right click on this cube in the middle and hit X delete. Next, hit Shift and C to make sure your cursor is in the middle. And let's hit spacebar and then add a plane, like that. Then let's hit S and 10 to scale it up 10. Actually, I'll do S and 2. Actually not. Alright, so we've got our plane like this. Now I'm just going to rename our plane to floor. So floor, just to make it easier later on in the tutorial. And let's change it from object mode to edit mode right here. And I'm with our face selected, so right click on this. Hit W. Actually, make sure your face mode is selected down here. And hit W subdivide, W subdivide, W subdivide, W subdivide. This should make 100 cubes in the game like this. Alright, next let's select a few of these faces by hitting B and then drag over. B and drag over. Hit B and drag over. Hit B and drag over. We're just going to make, like a simple little maze style thing right here. Just going to drag a couple corners right here. That works out well. Something like this. You'll probably make sure to have at least a gap of like 2 squares just to make it easier later on. Alright, that works well. Okay. Alright, so this is going to work. Let's hit E now to extrude it, so the E key. So now if we're playing if we see it from the top, we should see that our map is like this. Now don't unselect these faces just yet. We're going to use those later on. But let's now go back into object mode. And I'm going to add a material to our floor. So let's name this as blue, like that. I'll just give it a blue coloring like this. Alright, let's go back into edit mode right here though. And for the materials tab, let's hit plus, hit new, and let's name this material as, let's say, yellow. Now let's make this color a yellow color. That, I'm going to hit assign. So we should now have a blue and yellow map like this. Alright, that's good. Alright, let's now add an enemy into our game by hitting spacebar and add cube. And actually, this will be our player object, sorry. On this player object, I'll actually scale it down just a hair. Let's add a green coloring to it. Our player is going to be green, like that. Actually, that's not a good color. I'll change it to blue like that. That'll work. Alright, I'll name this material as blue. And right here, I'll name this as blue. Alright, let's now go to the physics tab. And actually, let's go from defaults to game logic and go from Blender render to Blender game. Let's go back into our physics tab over here. And change it from static to character and click actor. This is going to make it so that our player will apply to physics. Alright. Actually, our character's name should be player. Why it's blue. Alright, let's now add some movement to our player. So let's add a keyboard sensor right here. Click W. Let's have forward. Like that. Let's add another keyboard sensor. This one will be backward. Let's have S. Minimize that. Have another keyboard sensor. Let's have left. Select this as A. Minimize that. And have another keyboard sensor. Right, and let's have D. Alright, now what we're going to do is do add actuator in motion. Let's do 0.2 on the y-axis to move our player forward. I'll just rename this as forward. We'll have backward next. Backward, and this will be negative 0.2. And we'll have another motion actuator. This will be left. I'll put this on the negative x-axis, so let's have negative 0.2. That. And let's have another motion actuator. Let's have this as right. Let's have this as 0.2. Alright. Let's now connect these like this. Good. So once these are all connected, we're going to test to make sure the movements of our player works. So I'm going to hit play now. You can see that he can move around the map and interact with the map. It's a little fast for what the video is about, but that's okay. Alright, let's now right click on this right here, the floor. Let's build a navigation mesh because we're going to add an enemy into this. So click this symbol right here. Let's build a navigation mesh. This is essentially going to make it so our player can track around, or our enemy can track around to our player. Actually, let's now add an enemy object by doing spacebar and then add a cube. Add a cube. Scale it down just a bit. Alright, yes I am. Yes. I'll rename this object as enemy. And I'll add a material right here. This material will be red. Sorry about that, my parents just walked in. Alright, and let's add some character physics to our enemy right here. I'm going to drag this just out of the floor a little bit. So we can see that both cubes are going to drop. Now on our enemy object, what we're going to do is add an always sensor. And what we are going to do is have an add actuator object. Steering, sorry. Change it from seek to path following. For the target object, let's put player. And for the nav mesh, let's just put that. Click the N right here in the visualize. And we'll hit Y for the axis, which is going to make it track forward on the Y axis. Connect these right here. So if we hit play now, we should see it's going to track to our player like that. Not really very fast. Alright, I'll actually add a motion actuator to this as well. I'll just put 0.1. Alright, so now that we have this, you can see he's going to track a lot faster now. That's going to work. He's tracking around the map like this. Alright, that's going to work. Okay, let's now have it so that on our player object, let's add a property. Let's have it be player. Doesn't really matter if it's in whatever it is. I don't know why I put it to integer. That's okay. And what we're going to have is have if the collision with the player occurs. So collision. Let's click tap. Property player. What we're going to do is have an add actuator game. Then restart game. Now connect these right here. Alright, so let's save this game as something. I'll just save it to the desktop. And this will just be game. That. So if we hit file and save now, you can see that once the cube connects, it's just going to restart the game. Alright, but we don't want it just to restart the game. We want to actually have it where there's an objective to get to. So let's do spacebar and then add a cube. And this will be kind of like the game winner kind of thing. You reach this, the game's over. That's okay. Let's add on this new cube we've added, let's add a collision sensor. Property player. What we're going to do is just pretty much do the same thing. Let's add a game actuator and then restart the game. So once you reach the end of the map, it's just going to restart, pretty much. Alright, I'm going to add character physics to this. Let's change the color of this to... I'll do yellow. So if I hit play now, we can see we're avoiding the cube. Whoops, where'd he go? Lost sight of him for a second. Alright, so we've got this cube over here. The enemy's still tracking to us. If we touch it, it's going to restart. Alright, let's hit file save really quick. You see once we touch the cube, it's just going to restart the game. Alright guys, that's actually all I have for now. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. But for the time being, thanks for watching and have a good day.